Hello and welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns. Tonight we have another, let me shut the music off, Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament match. It is Swiss Round 5, the last match of Swiss, and both runners have a 3-1 win-loss ratio. It should be a great match. We have levelengine versus Amazing Ampharos, and tonight I am just waiting on our commentary, Jay Coper, who I believe just showed up, and since he knows more about the game than me, I will pass it off to him and let the runners get started.
I'm here.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
And hey, I will leave it to you.
You're free to talk if you want.
Well, I guess I can stay on and ask stupid questions.
There's no such thing as a stupid question.
I'll keep you company so that I can learn more about this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have a question, then it's possible that anyone in chat might have the same question.
Okay, cool.
So
I will stay with you then. Okay, and they should be getting started very soon. Looks like they just got started.
Alright, it is heading left straight into a cave. Looks like it's, this is the back of Fairy Cave. It is gonna go right through it, I guess. Orange Diver is only 70 experience, it's a little low, but an early life level is nice. My levelengine has found, Saria. Which is one of the two towns here that we can get a free spell in.
Okay. And I guess the question I have is levelengine using a standard sprite? Or is that a custom sprite?
No, the levelengine is using Link.
Okay, so that's what I thought.
So, yeah, this is the normal sprite of the game.
Okay, I believe that Amazing Ampharos is using the Town Lady sprite?
No, that's actually Zelda.
Oh, it is Zelda? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Skipping attack levels to take the life level. I think he mostly did that because he would have died if he didn't take the life level. Oh.
Yep, he was getting pretty close to losing a life.
It has found Raru, which has our other free spell in it, and they'll also be checking for hints from any NPC in a town that does not move has a chance of having a hint. There can be at most one NPC per town that has a hint, and those of the 8 towns plus the King's Tomb, which is a grave tile with just a lady standing in it. 4 of those 9 have a hint. And AA has found the fairy spell. That's good. While levelengine has found a magic jar. First magic jar is one of the best items to find. It makes casting spells easier and helps to be able to get closer to picking up the item in New Kasuto, which requires a random number of magic containers. This is a rough encounter for AA here. Levelengine in the same one. Okay.
Is that enemy that's kind of white and tall? Is that a like?
It's called a Geldar.
Okay.
There are no likes in this game.
Okay, that's what it reminds me of.
I can kind of see that. Levelengine has found Mito. He's gonna walk through here. Oh, he got jump. I missed him getting jump spell. So they'll both be able to get down to stab. Levelengine with jump and AA with fairy. as long as AA can cast Fairy. I didn't see what it costs. But AA is taking Magic 2. Fairy's still 80, so that's not a good sign. I'm a little surprised that AA didn't just kill that Red Dyra. Instead, the Red Dyra killed him. So now we're going to get the hint for where the medicine is. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen it yet. Carrack disappears, so that means the medicine is in Palace 4. Which could be fun if the medicine blocks Reflect.
So what item would you say that they would most like to see first? Or even spell?
Well, for items, I mean, there's two things that you always want to see, for sure. The raft is 100% required because you need it to get to the eastern continent. And the glove is probably even better to find because the glove can be anywhere, whereas the raft has to be somewhere in the west, obviously, to get to the east. So the glove can end up in a lot more digging to find it, and you're almost always going to need the glove. So we've got the Medicine Cave on the left here. Oh, AA found that magic container, so now he can cast Fairy, and he can go ahead and get down stab. Looks like AA is poking into Death Mountain just a little bit there, or just that first cave. Yeah, and levelengine has found the raft, so he can go east at any time he chooses to do so. I don't think we've seen any palaces yet in the west, though. We probably want to explore a little, see if we can find one or maybe two in the west before doing too much else.
Actually, a question I have is, I've seen runners doing level grinding versus exploring. Is that what would you consider to be more important?
Well, it kind of depends on the seed sometimes.
Okay.
But most of the time, like, exploring and finding things is necessary for beating the game.
Oh, yes.
And the amount of level grinding that you do is almost always just dependent on your skill level. Mm-hmm. And maybe a little bit of luck, just in how things are laid out and how enemies are laid out. So, we saw a palace there. I didn't catch which one it was, though. It's pretty easy to tell the palaces apart, generally. Except for 3 and 6, which are indistinguishable until you get into them. Oh, that was Great Palace? Okay.
Oh, that was quick to find.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to say whether it's good to have Great Palaces that are accessible or not. I think ideally you want Great Palace to be the last palace you find.
Yes.
And then you don't have to backtrack to it, so... So AA is getting his jump spell. Meanwhile, levelengine is getting his fairy spell. I'm not sure how AA missed the raft cave. Maybe he'll be getting there soon.
What items in the game would you consider to not be as useful?
So, I mean, everyone makes fun of the cross. The cross can be useful a little bit for surviving encounters, but all that the cross does in the whole game is make it so that you can see some invisible enemies in the east. It's not terribly helpful at all. But, yeah, beyond that, the things that are least useful other than that generally are like heart containers, because you'll want some heart containers to be able to survive a little better, but after that they end up being just things that they're not going to ever be progression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's got a tough decision on leveling there.
Yeah, it looks like he just found a 500 P bag.
Yeah, so that got shuffled in. There's a couple of 500 point caves in the east. And I guess the one in the west too. So there's 500 point bags that are in the item mix, because the P bag caves can actually have items in them instead of P bags. That's an option in the randomizer, of course. It's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah, I think I saw the other night where there was actually a clue or a hint for the P bag.
Yeah. Mostly what that can do is let you know where you don't have to dig.
Mm-hmm. It looks like the P bags tonight are giving 200 points, which is very nice.
Yeah, there was a 200 point bag right there. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's from the small items being shuffled amongst each other. So the enemies can drop 50, 100, 200, or 500 point P bags, as well as blue and red jars, 1-ups, and keys. And there's the small enemies have their own set of potential drops, and the big enemies have their own set of potential drops. Mm-hmm. And with the way that the flags are set up, the drops are going to be the same and in the same order for both players. That wouldn't necessarily be the case if you had some different flags on, but it is the case here.
And where is Amazing Ampharos right now?
I think he's in Palace 2.
Okay.
Looks like he didn't find Meteor to get downstab. Downstab would help a lot.
Speaking of which, what attacks actually are best for the runners to have?
Well, I mean, this is a game where every attack does the same damage.
Okay.
It's just that downstab will allow you to bounce over enemies.
Okay.
And it'll also let you do an attack called a jackhammer.
Okay.
Because normally when you attack an enemy, there's a cooldown on your attack, but you can press up or down to attack like every other frame. Mm-hmm. And so that'll let you do a lot of damage in a hurry. It's like, hey, he's just gonna fly over here. It's a bit of an interesting choice.
Yeah, I think he took a death, so...
He wants to see what this dripper is dropping. And it's not giving him a blue drop, which would turn into an enemy.
There it is. Okay.
It's Stalfos. So the interesting thing about the enemy dripper drops there, so there's an option in the randomizer to shuffle what they are. Normally, those drippers will just drop occasional blue dots or drops that will turn into gels, or bots, I mean. So those little blue enemies like you just saw on the level engine's side there. And in this case, they're dropping Stalfos, but a quirk about the flag to shuffle the enemies there, or randomize the enemy there, is that the dripper enemies always have the HP of a bot.
Okay.
So you can generally kill them in, like, most of the time, one hit.
Mm-hmm.
Could be 2 hits. So you could have a 500-point enemy off the drippers.
Okay.
And gain a lot of experience off them in a hurry.
Okay, so it's just a good way to grind.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, interesting, because I never heard that before. Oh,
Alright, looks like A has found a trophy.
Yep.
It's not getting tracked for some reason.
Let me...
Well, it looks like Level Engine is going to make the same decision that AA did and fly across Zarya to get to this area.
Okay. So I believe the trophy is something that you turn in to get a spell.
Yeah, you do that in Rudo, which is the town in the west that has a darker palette. AA is definitely taking some deaths here early.
Oh, and in regard to the keys, are they cumulative, so you can use them anywhere?
Yep.
They're not like palace specific.
Right. No,
Okay.
that is so that the enemies dropping them wouldn't really work if they were palace specific.
Okay.
Because you can get key drops in the overworld.
Okay.
But yeah, another flag that we have on in these Swiss flags is extra keys in palaces.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the palaces contain things like P-bags, like a 50-point P-bag or a 1-up. And all of the drops instead of P-bags will instead be keys. So, it just makes it a lot easier to get through a palace without the magic key. So you'll have many more keys to be able to pick up.
Is a magical key considered a nice item to find?
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay. Makes it easier to get through the palaces.
Yeah, for sure. Because otherwise you've got to either farm keys up or use fairy to get through doors.
Mm-hmm.
I think AA is going to maybe take another death here and might be on his last life.
I know that in other Zelda games that death warping is something that runners do. Is that something that you would do in Zelda 2, or is it more accidental?
A death mostly just takes you back to the beginning of the screen you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that can happen sometimes, but at most it would save like 10 seconds.
Okay.
So, and it can also be used at the same time to refill your magic and life. But I didn't see what Level Engine just got there in the cave. It's interesting.
Looks like he picked up the child somewhere.
Yeah. A more common... Oh, so that must have been that last cave he was in. Oh, okay. So A is going to be able to turn in his trophy right here. A more common warp you'll see is people using up and A.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically like a game over warp. So let's see if this trophy gives A anything useful. Fire spell. So in these flags, the fire spell is linked with another spell. We don't know what fire could be linked to. It could be just about anything with what we saw right there. we know it's not jump or fairy, for starters. But, if fire is thunder, for example, that would be huge news for AA. We'll maybe see him cast fire again soon. See if it's linked to... No, it doesn't look like it's linked to thunder or to spell. It could be reflect, though.
Is thunder considered the best spell to get?
Oh yeah, it's definitely reflect. Yeah, thunder is incredibly powerful, and it can, like, basically clear a room full of enemies at one time. So, yeah, you definitely want to get thunder, and it's required to beat Thunderbird, who is required in these flags. So, thunder, incredibly useful. Thunder fire is even more useful because the cost of fire will decrease in a hurry, usually. So, you can end up having fire to cast thunder and have that cost like less than a bar of magic every time. And you can just rack up a lot of experience in a hurry that way and get through enemy or palaces a lot faster.
Okay. Looks
so
like
a little, yeah.
AA just picked up the child as well.
Right. It's a little surprising to see Level Engine dipping Death Mountain so early here. He's already got the raft, and he's almost certainly got access to the raft spot, so I'd rather head east than go into here unless we have a location or a hint for something being here.
So if the reflect spell is tied to the fire spell, is that considered the same as getting the reflect spell?
You know, you could mark that he's got the reflect spell,
okay,
because he's well aware that he's got it. I don't know if that's ever been discussed for the purposes of tracking this tournament, but I think it's valid.
Yeah, I think we've been doing that when it's been tied to an actual spell. Yeah. Okay. It looks like we were told.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as what's actually randomized in... I wish AA would go and get down step and make his life a lot easier. But as far as what's randomized, like the whole overworld is completely procedurally generated, so it's all brand new. The item locations are all randomized. The enemy health is randomized. Spell cost is randomized. Enemy XP values are randomized. The palace layouts are randomized. Reflect was marked because the fire spell is linked to Reflect, and AA has the fire spell. Spell locations are randomized. The number of magic jars that the woman in the new casino needs to give you an item is randomized.
Does the child always give you the same spell or item?
The spell items are always needed in the same towns to give a spell. What spell you get from those spell items is randomized, of course, just like all the other spells. There is an option to turn off spell items. Looks like AA was just farming up that level, perhaps. But on bigger news on the left side, Level Engine has found the Hammer Cave, so we'll see if his dip into Death Mountain here was worth it.
Hopefully it's better than a heart container.
Yeah. I mean, the absolute worst thing you could find here would be, like, a red jar or a 1-up. those aren't even really items. Those are kind of just extra things that got shoved into the item locations. Oh, you got the boots. Wow. Those are very useful. I mean, they unlock an item in the east that could be required just to get around, and even if they're not required, they're going to make getting around much easier. It can be so much easier to avoid encounters once you have the boots.
Mm-hmm.
So he's demonstrating it very well right there.
Oh, so do they let you walk on water?
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like you walk on any water that's within the boundaries of the map.
Okay.
Once you get to the far east, you'll see water that you can't walk on, but that's because it's just like not actually part of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now level engine is going to hit east. We'll find out if those boots are required. Either way, they're going to be a help. It's just a question of if they're actually going to be a significant help too.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so level engine's already got one of the P-Bag caves in the east here. There could be an item in here. AA is finally going to get his raft. Oh, just a one up here.
So does it look like right now they're doing more exploration and a little bit of and some level grinding?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this game is just exploring and figuring out the map and killing things along the way to get some levels.
Okay, so it looks like AA did just get his raft.
Yeah, so we've got a Valley of Death spotting by a level engine there. Interesting to see if he goes in there, but he might want to look for items before he does that. There's a desert tile. There's something like 5 or 6 desert tiles in the east, and one of them will have an actual item. The others will generally have things like P-Bags. And level engine has also already found the other P-Bag cave in the east, so another potential item. AA is finally going to get down stab.
Oh, and he finds the cross.
Yep. So like I said, cross, not great because it's never required, but it can help to make the encounters with the invisible MOAs much safer.
Mm-hmm. AA just got his down stab.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Level engine taking some water to this lady. Gonna get another spell. AA learning about medicine in P4. We got a life spell. Obviously nice to be able to refill your life, but of course not required. There is another hint or two to the west if you go to the left from there, but the faster way to exit this town without reading any hints is to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's choosing to not read the hints or just kind of opting out that way.
Is it considered good to get as many hints as possible in this game?
Well, it kind of depends on where you are in the game, how many items you have.
Mm-hmm.
the hints can definitely be extremely useful. I mean, the hints are kind of like any game. So apparently, Level Engine is... Oh, he's just... Okay, interesting. So you can either... you can get to the top of that first house from the very beginning of the screen, either by casting Fairy. Just if you hold down and you cast Fairy, you can go right down the chimney. And people call it Fairy Claws. Or you can jump, use the jump spell, and you have to do like a pixel perfect jump to get up to the top of the house. So it's interesting to see him not do either of those things and then just walk down that house. I don't see many people do that.
Yeah, it looks like he just got up stab.
What is HK? Oh, Hidden Kasuto. Okay. So we have a hammer block. Nukasuto is what it sounds like. Buzz is pointing out. Oh, looks like AA is dipping into Death Mountain as well. So the hammer is much more likely to be required with the 2 items and the spell in Nukasuto being hammer blocked.
Levels wise, what's a good level for the runners to get in order to not be taking frequent deaths?
I mean, their levels are mostly pretty good for early game. I think by end game you generally would want to get to like around 666 or so at least.
Okay, minimum.
I mean, it kind of depends on the runner.
Of their skill level and comfort level.
Yeah, I get the only level requirement that's really necessary is you need to be able to cast Thunder.
Yes.
So, but everything on top of that is kind of just nice to have, or it'll save time. Like having a tech level higher is going to obviously make it so that you can kill enemies faster. Looks like those blue Lizalfos might be immune to sword. There's a few enemies in the east in the vanilla game that are immune to sword attacks that you have to kill with fire. So those are shuffled with the flag that does that, and when they're shuffled, if they end up on an enemy that's also immune to fire, then you just can't kill those enemies. But that's not a very useful River Devil right there. Just walk around him. Looks like we have a Maze Island bridge sighting though. Looks like the MOAs that became visible with the cross are also immune to sword attacks. I missed that the boots were completely required. That surprises me. I didn't see where the raft tile was exactly though. Oh, we've got a new key, or a magic key on the desert tile in the east. Very useful to have. It means you don't have to worry about managing keys or managing your magic.
Mm-hmm. Or killing enemies to get keys.
Right. Yeah, that's all kind of part of it. And here we've got the actual reflect spell, so that fire find by AA to get reflect is not a huge boon for him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really interesting, that the level engine skipping an attack level to take magic 5. Looked like it was another magic jar there on the water tile. Yeah, boots are in Hammer Cave here. AA is about to get them. I would say the main advantages that AA has right now are his levels and the fact that he's dipped into Palace 2 quite a bit, so he's got a lot of knowledge of that palace. But Level Engine has done quite a bit in the East, where the AA has done almost nothing. Oh, Level Engine going directly to an item drop on Maze Island, and our first item there is a magic jar. So once we get into New Kasuto, we're guaranteed to be able to get the magic container item from the old lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's randomized, the number of jars she needs.
Yeah, it's between 5 and 7.
Okay.
So we're looking for on Maze Island the other drop spot. There are 2 total that will have an item in them, and there are a bunch of other random encounter spots on Maze Island as well. You kind of want to avoid those, or if you know how to fairy feet, maybe you can fairy feet through them.
Mm-hmm.
But having the boots is extremely helpful for exploring this, so let Level Engine maneuver around some potential encounters. I don't think we saw which palace that is yet. AA is finally in the east. Level Engine has found the other drop item, and it's a hammer.
Oh, that's
so,
nice.
Yeah, that's probably going to get us something good. We'll see.
Is it quite possible that they won't actually need to find the flute? Or it's not going to be required?
So we know that the flute is not going to be required just for
Okay.
travel, because we saw that the River Devil does not block anything.
Okay.
It could still be required to enter a palace in the east.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know, basically. It's a 50-50 chance, and we haven't seen the 3-Eye Rock yet, I don't believe, and we haven't found all the palaces yet either, so it kind of just depends on when we find that thing. So Level Engine is dipping a palace here. It's either 3 or 6, and the thing about those palaces is that they're very frequently glove blocked. It's 6, so he could end up finding the boss right away in here, or he could end up getting stuck. We'll see. So that's a technical glove block right there, but because you land on the ceiling, you can just walk off to the left.
Although I did see in another match, a different match the other day, that the glove actually was in Palace 6.
Yes, the glove can be in 3 or 6. It's just pretty unlikely to happen. I don't know for sure, but I think the palace layouts are done before the item placement. That's an interesting question. But from playing this game, it certainly feels rare for the glove to be in 3 or 6. But beyond glove blocks, Level Engine does have the magic key, and he's got fairies, so exploration in 6 will be pretty straightforward beyond that. Looks like we're getting our first of potentially 2 Rebenak fights in L6. This one is just a path forward, basically. Oh. Yeah, I guess the Canadian hold jump isn't that tough in general, but with this this palette, it's definitely a little tougher. The patterns of bricks can be random between the palaces, so hitting certain jumps can be a little trickier depending on the layout of the bricks on the bottom. It's all about your visual cues. So AA just got a spell. It looks like that's the... that must be life, yeah.
So if Level Engine actually encountered the Palace 6 boss, would he be able to beat it, or is it kind of too...
Yep, that's what he's about to do right now.
Okay.
If I were him, I would probably go back a step after this and... Oh, nice little jackhammer there. Wow. Didn't even make a dent in Barbara's health. The way that the bosses have randomized health amounts in this game is if they have lower health, it'll be very obvious. They'll have some white bars that their health are. But if they have extra health, you won't know until you start attacking them. That they'll actually have extra health that's not shown in their health bar, but you just won't know until you get off the extra health, and then they start losing the actual health. Wow, that is impressive. You can tell he's practiced this.
I think this is why both runners are 3 and 1.
Yeah, I think Level Engine clearly has an execution advantage here. A combat advantage, if you want to say that. Oh, I'm surprised that he's not placing the gem first and then going left there. I think that's what he might do. That's what I would do in his situation then, though. Place the gem, then go left and drop down and see if maybe the item is still accessible.
Is it possible that the item could still be glove locked in this palace?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, he's not even going to go down. Okay, so he's just going to get out of here, I guess. go back to the main eastern continent.
Is he pretty much hoping that it's not a required item in the palace?
Yeah, I mean it's a risk either way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk to dig it.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially get glove blocked, and it's a risk to just leave it there. So you kind of have to weigh what you want to do. Looks like AA has found the item in Palace 4 really quickly. And it's the medicine. Oh, of course, we had the hint for that. Could very well be required. We haven't seen Thunder yet. That's the main thing we'll be looking for. It's also possible that spell is required in order to get the glove, perhaps. Oh, not long after, it looks like levelengine has found the medicine, so now in the same palace. Looks like levelengine also has found shield. I think that was in. Well, that was where he got from the kid. So, the shield is kind of nice to have when you're fighting those blue iron knuckles and things like that are really dangerous. Yeah, I think AA is really concerned with experience, so he's much less likely to up an A to not lose it. That's the biggest consequence of using an up and A warp, is that you'll lose all the experience you currently have.
Yeah, it definitely looks like AA is doing some experience grinding.
Yeah, the 6 count that you normally need is randomized. I don't know what it's randomized between. It could be like 4 to 8 or something like that. AA again taking a life level at basically 0 health. He's had a couple of timely ones in this run. Man, attack 5 versus attack 3 is pretty big. This boss, of course, doesn't need any attack. You just sit here and reflect his shots until he dies.
Is this considered one of the easier bosses?
Oh yeah. It's basically RNG. Looks like levelengine is flying over this hole. I don't think that was required. Doesn't seem like AA did that. Well, yeah. You can game over to Karak. That doesn't mean that Karak is difficult. So there's another palace in the east. I think that means the flute is not required. So AA again does not have the glove either, and he is dipping. This is Palace 3 right here, I think. Yeah, because Palace 6 was on Maze Island. So 3 is definitely easier to navigate than Palace 6. Oh, AA also does not have the magic key yet, so he's still a little worried about keys. A nice thing about Palace 3, especially once you have the glove, it's pretty easy to get a key. So you can see you just went through or over 2 keys right there. But I guess without the glove, it's not nearly as convenient in that sense. Alright, so that's a hard glove block right there.
So how many palaces can actually be glove locked? Is it just P3 and P6?
No, P2 could be glove locked as well. That's a little more rare. And we've already... Oh, well... I don't think we've completely determined whether that's glove blocked or not. We know that the item in P2 isn't, but both the item and the boss in P2 could be glove blocked. But there's only one room in Palace 2 that requires glove at all. So... Yeah, of course GP2. GP is, like, by far the most likely palace to be glove blocked.
Okay. And it looks like the reflect spell is required to beat P4?
Yes, always.
Okay.
So the only way that the reflect spell isn't required is if you have to place a number of gems less than 6. That was a weird movement by levelengine. Alright, AA is gonna get shield here, I believe.
Yes.
Oh no, that's reflect.
Oh, it's
that's reflect.
Okay,
Sorry.
the actual reflect.
Yeah, shield was what you get from the kid in Darunia. So that was by far the spell that AA would have liked to see least because it does nothing for him. Fire probably costs less than reflect already. Looks like levelengine is gonna go into Valley of Death here. I didn't see him actually poke into P3, but he must have checked to see what that was. Levelengine doing a little fairy feat there. He seems to have a nice feel for that. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes some death right here with these invincible Moas. That was unexpected, but anyway, that's that. Oh man, I didn't think that was his last life.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have taken an up and A at a palace to reset his lives there. But that's really unfortunate for him.
So did he basically? Oh, all his experience got wiped out.
Yeah, he didn't have that much experience.
Okay.
So I think it's more of a matter of now he has to go back there.
Okay.
If he started in the Valley of Death and got no reward for it. Alright, AA is now going to get his shield spell. Oh, the nice thing that happened for levelengine though is now that since he's got the hammer, he can come to New Casero here, and there's a pretty decent chance he's going to find something helpful somewhere in this town. AA picking up upstab.
Oh, yep, there's the glove.
Yep, that's pretty big. We don't know if that's 6 or 7. Well, it could be 5, 6, or 7 magic containers. I guess it's only a 1 in 3 chance that AA does not have enough magic containers for it currently. But he's also got to get the hammer too, which I believe was on Maze Island somewhere. And then of course we still got a spell here, and then another item that's just blocked by the spell, which we don't have. There's no way that there's an item that's required at the end of town here. So, yeah, I think that's go mode for level engine, basically. Or as it's sometimes called, basically, full dig shake. Well, yeah, he's got all the spells that he needs and all the items he needs, so he's good.
Yeah, he just picked up Thunder.
He also has the medicine, but that's not really relevant. It's just not on his tracker.
So does level engine mostly to just need to find out where all the palaces are and beat them?
Yeah, I think he might know where all the palaces are.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say level engine has a pretty decent advantage. Again, the only advantage I think AA really has beyond his levels is the knowledge of Palace 2, which isn't that significant. No, level engine just loves that lava hole right there. Glove was in Nukusudo at the Magic Jar Lady. Oh, AA now has 7 Magic Jars, so he's good to go once he takes that hammer back to Nukusudo. I'm curious to see what he chooses to do here. He's probably going to go to the palace. Looks like it's Palace 1 that's
Okay. Oh, looks like
Valley of Death.
looks like he also picked up the magic key.
Yeah, the magic key was on the desert tile in
Okay.
the east. AA didn't see that, I guess.
Okay.
AA is now in 6. We've seen from level engine side that 6 is definitely completable without the glove. But we'll see how AA handles this. 1 should be very easy for level engine. I don't know why he's going left. He might not realize that he's in go mode. Maybe he's still thinks he might need the flute, but I don't think there's any way that the flute can be required. Or maybe he came up that elevator before, I'm not sure. I guess I wasn't watching that carefully. No, he's just going left to look for the item, I guess.
But
Yeah, I suppose another heart would be nice, but yeah, just like I was saying earlier, just not required.
So it looks like level engine doesn't really need any more items. He just might need to do a little bit of grinding to get his magic up.
No, his magic is fine.
Oh, 5.
With,
Okay,
7.
5 should be fine. Okay.
It's more that he's got 7 magic containers, so
Okay.
that's gonna let him cast plenty of spells. Magic is a bigger concern with 4 or 5 containers. So we know this Rebenek is required. Alright, level engine's gonna get his item here. That was a pretty cool, I forget what that guy is even called. Might be a Guma. but a pretty fun fight. Fight him anyway. I don't know. Oh, that's really funny. That ring loops into itself.
Mm-hmm.
Upstab might have helped grab that jar. Yeah, what are the blue guys that throw the hammers called?
I don't think they're called dancing bears, Rose City Saint. Oh, Doom Knocker?
Well, so we got Doom Knocklers and Doom Rattlers. I don't know. I need to look at the manual again and see if there's actually any names in there. So AA did not do the jackhammer strats on Barba, but with the higher attack level, the fights were probably about the same length. And AA, let's see if he heads straight back to New Kasuto and gets his glove and thunder. Or if he's going to do something else first. Oh, he's going to check this rock. There's an heart container.
That's the first heart container we've seen.
No.
Oh, no, there was another one? Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And Level Engine also has an extra heart container, so he found a different one than the one that AA just found, because I'm almost positive that he did not go back and get that one.
No, I think he found one that actually looked blue. So it's definitely a different spot.
Oh, AA is turning in his medicine here first. A little unfortunate for him. We know this isn't required, but he doesn't know that, and he's just routed it in the way that he thinks makes the most sense for him. So AA will be able to get the item at the end of Spell Town. We know it's not required. Level Engine did pick up the flute there in Palace 3. I'm almost positive that it's not needed, but maybe I'm not seeing something correctly. We'll see. Alright, he's got his glove. And he'll get his thunder in just a second. But at this point, Level Engine has a pretty big lead here. He's got basically 2 palaces completed that AA hasn't even set foot in yet, for the most part. I mean, AA has been in 3, but he's been in 3 enough just to know that it's blocked. And AA has not even come close to 1 yet. So, like I said before, AA has been in 2 and Level Engine has not, but it's that I don't think that's enough to really help AA here. He's gonna need some pretty bad deaths from Level Engine to have a chance to come up. I should say pretty bad game overs, not just deaths.
I should say that irregardless of who wins this race, that both runners will be moving on to brackets.
Yeah, and they'll both be at least 3 and 2. So not even the bottom of the bracket. Be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, someone's going to be 4 and 1, and someone will be 3 and 2.
That was a pretty cute fairy use by Level Engine there.
At this point in time, is it even worth it for Level Engine to go into towns, or because he doesn't need anything anymore, does he? Or is he just looking for hints?
He was just using that town as a connector.
Okay.
There's two sides of that town that you can enter, and if you can cross it either by talking to Bagu or by using the fairy spell, then that'll let you get a different part of the western continent. And you know, I just thought about this. I know that Digshake has been working on shuffling towns between continents. I wonder if he'll have the possibility of part of Saria being on one continent and part of it being on the other.
Oh, interesting.
So then you could get between continents that way. AA did skip the item in Palace 3, so if Level Engine is still looking for items for some reason, that is a small advantage to AA, I guess, as far as time goes.
Yeah, AA should know that he doesn't need to get anything. He's pretty much gotten everything except for the flute.
So it looks like Palace 2 was club blocked in the end. Kind of worked out for AA that he didn't get through there in a way, because he would have eventually been stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have had to go through the whole thing again.
So does Level Engine know where Palace 5 is?
This must be right
okay,
here.
okay. So I don't think we saw Palace 5 yet.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any of it. I mean, I can't blame them. I don't dig Palace 5 early if I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's both really big and it has pretty much the hardest boss.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Goomba?
It's Goomba, yeah.
Oh, Goomba, okay.
Yeah. Goomba is this slightly more resilient than your typical Goomba.
I think he has, doesn't he have like a ball and chain, or spiked ball and chain that can cause damage? Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Level Engine is trying to just go as fast through here as possible. Is that what I'm seeing? Just to get to the boss. He's not going to worry about finding any items, is he?
No, I'd be surprised if he even picks up the item if he comes across it. So, one thing about Palace layouts is that you always enter, Palace 1 way faster for AA than Level Engine. But you always enter the item rooms in Palace 1, 2, and 5 from the right, going to the left. And in 3, 4, and 6, you're going to the right when you find them. So, it's like you can find the items in 3, 4, and 6 by just trying to head to the boss, because you're always going to enter the boss from the left as well. But to get the items in 1, 2, and 5, you kind of have to go intentionally towards them to the left. Anyway, looks like AA is done, and he's just got to go to 2 and 5. But 5 looks like it was pretty short, all things considered. But still, at least 5 to 10 minutes that AA is going to be behind going into Great Palace. And like I mentioned before a few times, AA is going to have better levels.
Is that, is Level Engine just hit Great Palace? Around like 113?
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see what AA's time is entering.
We'll see whether this is a shorter or a longer Great Palace, because I've seen it where sometimes it takes them quite a while to find Thunderbird.
Yeah. So of note, there is a flag in these early rounds of the tournament for a short Great Palace, which it removes a lot of the rooms of the Great Palace that are just leading you along the same direction. Any of the rooms where you potentially have to make choices in which direction to go, like an elevator or a drop. Those are still in this Great Palace setup, but just a lot of the paths are shorter. And yeah, we've got a Thunderbird sighting already.
Yeah, it looked like it only took him about like 1 minute to find Thunderbird, which is very fast.
Yeah, so that could mean that it could be a little tricky to find Darkling, but I think all things considered, probably a little better to have an early Thunderbird than a later one.
It looks like this should be a pretty quick seed overall.
Oh yeah. Probably finish under 120, most likely, and AA is almost at Helmet Head too, so you know, he's not going to be that far behind. It's still going to be tough for him to make up the difference. We'll see what happens. I bet he'll take some left in GPs. He probably feels behind. Yeah, it looks like AA is probably going to end up at 778 compared to level engine 668. I thought that was Darkling for a second there when you walked into that room. It obviously wasn't. There would be the curtain at the top, but just with the sharp black palette, it's kind of the same as Darkling's room. Looks like we found a little loop there. We've seen pretty much every side of this Jackamus room now. So I'm guessing he's going to go up this elevator here. Got the ferry room, so more branches. The fact that he came back into the Jackamus room is probably good for him, because I would expect AA to maybe go left at Jackamus, which is just going to lead him to that loop we just saw. I think that's the same place that Level Engine up an aid in Palace 5, where AA just up an aid, so we'll see if he quickly comes to Guma like Level Engine did after the up and aid.
Oh, yeah, just found Guma.
Alright, well, AA has placed all 6 gems before Level Engine has finished, at least. So we'll have some excitement of both players in GP at the same time. This is not the right way either. I don't know which way we're supposed to go.
It looks like Dark Link is being a little hard to find tonight.
I mean, he's already a shadow. You'd think it'd be pretty easy for him to hide.
Oh, but since AA is playing as Zelda, won't we have a Dark Zelda instead?
Yes. There's no functional difference, so just cosmetic. So, in some ways, Level Engine is only a few rooms ahead of AA here. But we'll see. So, clearly, after Thunderbird, you just take this drop. There's not much choice here. But then, what's our first choice after this? You have to go left. This is a really long left here. Alright, Thunderbird time for AA. He's got the same attack level that Level Engine did. He's just got 2 extra magic levels. He could have easily got attack 7, or fairly easily, but just playing it nice and steady here.
So since Dark Link is being hard to find, is it actually possible for AA to catch up?
Maybe. It looks like there's a lot of forest paths that Level Engine has found here, so if AA gets really lucky, perhaps, but it seems unlikely. There's Level Engine's first death, and there's AA's first death. So, a game over for Level Engine. Somewhere bad here is a way that you could catch up, perhaps. Game overs are much less likely when we've got a short GP and no mixed large and small enemies, though. So. The other guy messing with this fun room. Immediately going to the fairy spell. Those are some of the hardest rooms in GP because you can get knocked into the lava by the enemies. Alright, well, AA is going the right way so far. He went right at the Jackamus room. I think Level Engine is on the right path, though, now. He's taking this drop, and it's probably going to take him right to Darkling, I would bet. Well, we've got another choice here. AA would need to go left-right here, but he's not. He's going to go right, and that's going to take him in a big loop back to the Jackamus room. This drop, I would say, has to be required. Oh, wait, no. We saw that drop destination. That's right. Yeah, don't take that drop. Alright, AA has found his way back to the Jackamus room. He's probably going to go up this elevator and do the same stuff that Level Engine already did, but Level Engine is at Darkling, and this boss, if you choose to fight him that way, is only slightly more than a cutscene. So, basically just a formality at this point.
And it looks like Level Engine finished with an official SRL time of 1:26:53. And I did ask him if he'd be joining us for an interview, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. And about how long do you think it's going to take AA to find Dark Zelda?
Maybe another 5 minutes.
Okay. Oh, and if you haven't already, please give both of these runners a follow. They've done an amazing job. This has been a really great race. And a pretty short one, too. Would you say that sub 130 is generally a good time?
Yeah. It kind of depends a lot on the seed.
Of course.
What's required of it. I'd say this was, a confident time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too great.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this were a larger race, I wouldn't be surprised if someone finished with a time like sub 110 or 115.
Mm-hmm. I did have a race the other night that was closer to 2 hours, so I guess I would consider this on the shorter side.
Yeah, like I said, it all depends on the seed and who's racing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it looks like Level Engine is going to be joining us. And GG's Level Engine.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I'm just watching the rest of the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like you will be moving on with a 4-1 record, which is very nice.
4 out of 4 on 1.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my second tournament I participated in for Z2R. So I'm guessing from here on out it's just brackets.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Next week we'll
I'm
start.
gonna have to see what those brackets are gonna look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be different flags.
Have you done a lot without the candle and things that are required in the brackets?
Without the candle. Yes.
Okay.
I'd have to start maybe doing that again in practice, because why not? I can probably get used to that again, no problem.
Yeah. So, I guess you guys went east when you found the raft, and you found that you couldn't do anything in the
Go
east?
anywhere east. Yep.
So, what were you thinking at that point? I guess you had some options. You did have ferries, so the palaces were open logic-wise, and you had 2 and 5 available to you.
I could only really cast 1 fairy spell at a time, unless I just take a death or find a magic jar somewhere, so I picked Death Mountain over the palaces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AA went and dug Palace 2, and I think that's something that helped to make up the difference in time between you two.
Wait, he went for Palace too?
Yeah, he got the trophy out of Palace 2.
Very early on, and what spell did he get?
He got Fire, which was actually Reflect.
Reflect.
Yeah, so, that could have been big.
There.
That could have been big for him, but
How early on do you think he went to that palace?
Around the same time that you were in Death Mountain, I guess.
I was an hour into my run when I went to Palace 2.
Yeah, no, he was in there at the very beginning.
When I was at that point, I pretty much had the entire East Hyrule just cleared out for everything I really need. Got every key item that I'd need to just beat any seed. Had every palace cleared at that point, so all I knew I had to do was just stay in the west. Do palaces 2 and 5 then.
Yeah, you took an interesting route through Palace 1, considering you didn't need anything at that time.
It was literally fork in the road, go down the elevator, room on the left, item room on the right, hallway, and the room after that, Horsehead. I got to see every other room in the palace, though, which is like 2 dead ends, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess I don't know why you chose to go left when the boss was right, but AA's
looking for a spare car container.
Okay. Alright, that's what some people
so
want.
Ampharos found Dark Link.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, that was a kind of a confusing Great Palace.
It was very windy.
I must have spent at least, almost 15 minutes in there myself.
Yeah, I think AA made up a little time in the end, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's between the 1, 2, 5, and Dark Link.
I wasn't so sure if I was going to win this because I already screwed up the beginning really badly.
Oh, in what way do you think you screwed up?
you use the fairy spell to fly across the river, because you are not supposed to talk to Bagu since he's not on the same side of the river as you. I had the fairy spell for a good part of the early game, and I never actually used it.
Oh, just let
Yeah.
you know.
I was
AA will
looking
also
for
be joining
Bagu.
us. Sorry.
And I had the fairy spell. Let that sink in.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch you looking for Bagu.
Yeah. I tried a bunch of random forest tiles. Just wasted time there. But I still thought to myself, okay, this is like the early stages of the race. There's still like a whole game ahead of us for both of us.
Yeah, I don't think that hurt you too much.
Must not have.
And it
So
looks-
were we on this whole time, or
What's that?
I'm sorry.
were we on this whole time
Were
while
you-
Amazing Ampharos was running?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And it looks like Amazing Ampharos has just joined us. GG's.
Yeah, good games, Level Engine.
Thanks.
That one was kind of nasty.
Yeah, I'll admit. I wasn't so sure I was gonna win this one either.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
when I saw the glove where it was and not behind spell or in, P1 in its horrible slot or P5, I was like, there's a good chance that I've already lost this race. Let's just turn on the jets and see what happens, though.
yeah, Level Engine definitely got the glove first. I don't think it was by a huge amount. I think that the biggest factor was probably AA digging Palace 2 at the beginning, whereas Level Engine pretty much went straight to Death Mountain.
Yeah, digging Palace 2 at the beginning with very little magic to work with. I didn't see that working so favorably.
Yeah, there were a whole lot of just kind of bad things that happened. So Palace 2 seemed like a really good play, because with Fairy, I knew it was really likely to have the thing, and I knew it was really likely the Drippers would get me a good magic level. I didn't know Fairy was going to be super expensive until Magic 6. And my experience curve in being trapped in the Northeast was the reason I went back in to see if I could make it to Helmet Head. I knew it was a coin flip, and I knew I would get a level either way, so...
But you didn't have the glove, didn't you?
No, but I'd already seen the glove
Obviously.
block. I went back in kind of a place where I had to up A, and I was just taking the 50-50 that led to Helmet Head, knowing EXP on the way would help my leveling curve.
Yeah, AA definitely finished with higher levels, and I think that's part of what made the difference as well, is that it spending a little more time killing things and leveling.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the second big kick in the gut, was the fact that the magic key was actually accessible. Because my whole strategy was based around the idea I was going to need to get a really high magic level, because Fairy was just so expensive and the glove was nowhere, and I was like, I'm going to be just digging with this Fairy spell. If I can get to a really high magic level early, it could be a big edge, and then magic key just falls in your lap, and then digging out the medicine and trying to do P3 without the glove didn't work out. At least P6 was doable without the glove, but it was just...
And on 3 attack. There was quite a bit of time actually sunk into that Barba fight. I still got it first try.
I think I had attack 5 for Barba. I mean, I ended at 688, which was pretty
What I
funny
ended
level
with?
to end on.
688?
Yep,
I
688.
think I might have ended with a pair of 6s and an 8.
It was only like 60 experience difference between attack 7 and magic 8. I decided magic 8 was probably better. Fairy only cost 20 at magic 8. But yeah, kind of the main thing I was hoping for late in the game was that at least spell would be required for the glove, and then it was in the other spot, and that was a kick in the gut.
So you were watching me just play alongside you?
No, but I knew spell was in a terrible place, and I had it.
Makes me wonder what that item under the spell tower was, because I never went there.
I mean, what? I didn't find 1 magic container, 2 heart containers, or the flute. So probably one of those things.
The flute was in Palace 3.
Yeah, I
we didn't
noped
need
the
it
Palace
scene.
3 item. I never found the item in 6. It
Me
seemed
neither.
almost guaranteed it was glove blocked after I found Barbud with what I'd seen.
Could have been either a heart container, a magic container, or maybe some junk item.
Yeah, I didn't find the item in 1.
That was a heart container.
Is that all I didn't find? The spell tower item, 6's item, and New Kasuto will have to be. I mean, you have the last magic and heart container between them, and I guess there's a junk item we didn't find.
I never went digging for the item in Palace 5 either.
Oh yeah, 5's item. Oh, that was another funny moment when it was like a 4-room 5, except I went the wrong way and saw half the palace.
Oh, that certainly gave me an edge.
Yeah, you guys took
Try to
similar
actually find the right way.
But yeah, good games level engine. Sometimes you get a seed that's kind of a kick in the gut. I just made a lot of wrong calls, and, well, when you make a lot of wrong calls, you don't win, right?
Right, well, you're both moving on to the bracket. You have any thoughts on the bracket coming up?
It should be pretty
A lot of
interesting.
hearts
I know if you get a 4-1 seed, like Level Engine just got here,
there. Yeah.
that should put you in pretty good shape to have a clear path for a while. At 3-2 where I'm at, it's really volatile. I really could get matched up with almost anyone because that's going to give me a seed right around the middle.
Clear path. What do you mean by this?
Well, I mean, you're going to be seeded away from all the top players.
Away from the top players. Just by winning 4 out of the 5 games. That's weird.
I mean, you're going to get a top player seed. That's a 4-1's near the top of the bell curve.
Yeah, I see, but I don't see how that would put me away from getting paired up against the top players.
I mean, it's a bracket, so, you know, best seeds play worse seeds, you know?
Okay, that just makes things easy for me.
But yeah, that'll be an interesting experience for sure. At 3-2, I have no way to predict what's going to happen. I'll do my best.
Are either of you, do you have someone you're looking forward to playing against, and someone that you are not looking as forward to playing against?
I mean, I don't particularly. I'll take whatever opponents I get. If I get someone way better than me, then it's a good measuring stick. And if I get someone I'm going to beat, then winning's fun. So it's all good either way, really. And it would be nice, though, to get to play my buddy Jay Coper here, because my main motivation for entering this is to try to be at least as good, if not better than him at Z2R for an eventual long randomizer series. So that would be the most useful data point, would be seeing how that race would go.
I guess it's not well for you, but we'll see.
Gauntlet thrown down.
I don't know what the chances are that we race each other. I don't know how many people are in the bracket. It depends if there's, if we're both 3-2, we could certainly be racing each other in an early round, I would imagine. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun.
Anyone have any other thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm just looking to see like who's in the tournament exactly. How many wins has Amazing Toaster racked up?
I think he was a 3-1 going into this round, right? The 2 undefeateds remaining were RCS and Lightning.
Yes, that's right.
Trying to look. Let's see.
I
So
did have one race against him in the previous tournament. I could have won, but I made a misplay that was just bad enough that it pretty much just equated to me throwing the race. Now, every time I see that Great Palace room where you have the Eon drop, I always check to see what's on the other side of the room before I actually take the drop.
I mean, it could be like this GP, where when I walked into the room, I knew exactly which backward direction that drop went. I saw a lot of GP too.
So did
Yeah,
I.
you both did.
Yeah.
I think you basically had the same path, for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that does it for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
GG's.
just realized it's almost midnight, so I have to go.
Yes, GG's to both runners, and I guess
Thanks.
thanks everyone for joining us, and I guess we'll call it a night. So take care, and you can do. If you want to check the schedule quick, it's right there, or you can always check ZeldaSpeedRuns.com. So we'll catch you later. Bye. Oh, and big shout out to Jay Coper for joining me as a noob on comms. Thanks again. Bye.